Yes, you can see me. Okay. I'm so sorry. Something's wrong with YouTube today. And there were a lot of classes that could not go live on our platform and multiple platforms because of some glitch. But I think this can go on well for now. Yes, clearly visible and audible. Okay. So, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. Okay. So, yes, finally back after a week for our weekly editorial roundup. And what am I going to do today in the class? What article have I taken? I'll tell you that. So, but before that, you know what we do every week? We meet every week, Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. And I sometimes take one article, sometimes take two, according to the length of the article and the difficulty level of that from various sources. What are the sources? The sources could be newspaper editorials or magazines from where CAT or any other MBA entrance examination can pick up a reading comprehension. And why do we do this roundup? We do this roundup with an aim that we are able to solve a reading comprehension effectively. Now, there are many things that are related to your ability to solve a reading comprehension effectively. We try to touch upon each one of the aspects in this editorial roundup that we have, apart from reading some interesting articles. So, every week when we meet, we take up sometimes two articles, sometimes one. Today, I am going to take only one article because the article is difficult. It's very difficult. It has a lot of inference that we need to do. Ankit, yeah, okay. Ankit, अभी भी visible नहीं है? Ankit, visible है क्या? जल्दी से एक बार thumbs up दे दो. Yes, started. Yes, visible to Ankit. Correct. So, ठीक है. So, I'll take one article. Source क्या है आज के article का? The source is the outlook. I will not tell you what the article is about. You have to tell me what the article is about, okay? So the source is the outlook, and we're going to take one article. We'll take out the vocabulary from this article. Many new words you will come across. I'm sure you haven't seen these many words, a lot of them. If you've seen, you might not know the meaning of. So that's why I've specifically chosen this article. Lots of new words, lots of new ideas, lots of inference that could be done here. So this is what we're going to do. And in the end, we together will do a little bit of homework. Under my video, you have to write down one, the tone of the author, and the other, the summary of the article. But remember, when you do the homework, when you write down the summary of the article, it should not be more than a line. So summary has to be in only and only one line, like the option of an examination. Like, what is the main idea? One of the options. That is the kind of summary you have to write down. And we'll do a lot of inferences through the article that we're going to read. So, ready for the article, everyone? Can we start? Ready for the inference? I'll be asking you many questions from between. Not direct questions, indirect ones. And you're supposed to answer that. Can we shoot now? Yes, of course. It's for any MBA entrance examination. It's for CMAT or any other examination that you're sitting for. Okay? So, here we go. Let's start off with it. The first word that we have from today's article is whimper. So, whimper is a kind of noise, a low-pitched noise somebody would make when the person is in pain, trouble, suffering, or fear. That kind of low noise somebody makes. The noise is called whimpering. So, a child in a bed nearby began to whimper. Probably the child was in pain or the child was scared. The noise that the child would make would be whimper. That's the first word. The second word. Now, while I teach you words, you have to tell me many synonyms, many antonyms that you can think of. Okay? As many as you can. Please tell me synonyms and antonyms that you can think of. Okay? So, the next word that we have is doomsday. A very common word that is the day when the world would end. Existence of the world is no more. Last day of, Hindi. हम उर्दू में या इस्लाम में हम कयामत वर्ड यूज करते हैं. It has the same meaning. Kayamat, the last day of your life, the last day of the world is about to end. Pralay in Hindu mythology as well is a related word. So doomsday, apocalypse is a related word. The world is going to end. The last day of the world could be doomsday. I'm sure you've seen Doomsday Conspiracy. So be it believed that the time of doomsday is concealed from mankind. That means mankind does not know which will be our last day. That is, which will be the last day of the world. When is the world going to end? So that's doomsday. Next word. Okay. How do you pronounce the word? The pronunciation is phantasmagoria. It comes from the word fantasy. What is fantasy? Imagination. A world of your own that you create. Alice in Wonderland was a fantasy. So phantasmagoria comes from the word fantasy. Imaginary, dream-like things that you can think of. For example, utopia. Can I say utopia is a fantasy? It's an example of phantasmagoria. You know what utopia is? पता है सबको utopia क्या होता है? Yes? आंसर करो जल्दी से so that I know. आपको पता है utopia, dystopia क्या होता है? If you read Animal Farm, you have read Animal Farm, you would know what is dystopia. Do you know this? Utopia is a world that's a perfect society, a perfect world. Dystopia is a world that's full of suffering. Guys, देखो, मेरी बात सुनो. YouTube is playing games. If you don't reply to me, I would not know if I'm visible and audible. Okay? There's a glitch with YouTube today. Alright, so yes, Mridula has answered, so I know I'm at least visible to Mridula. Okay, let's go ahead. Pooja, utopia होता है perfect world. Dystopia होता है एक ऐसा world which is full of suffering. ठीक है? Perfect world होता है जहाँ सब खुश हैं, everybody has a good income, everybody is happy. It's only in dreams. It is phantasmagoria. Okay? So, imaginary ideas or dreams are examples of phantasmagoria. What happened next was a phantasmagoria of horror and mystery. Nobody knew that this kind of horror and mystery could happen. It was only in a fantasy, but that happened in reality. That's phantasmagoria. Next word, reptilian brain. So it has a scientific relationship, but also has a contextual English related relationship. Reptilian brain is that part of your brain which is responsible for your intuition, okay, and responsible for your instinct, and that part of a brain which helps you and decide your behavior that will help you and your survival. Why is it called a reptilian brain? Because that part of the brain is similar to a reptile's brain. So a reptilian brain, I'll repeat, is that part of your brain that helps your instinct, your intuition, your sixth sense, and your behavior for survival is the reptilian brain. And Akash, we have to follow YouTube's orders. We can't violate them, right? So this is slide number 1. Take a very quick screenshot, everyone, so that you can revise the words. I'm sure phantasmagoria is a word you probably haven't heard of. Let's look at the next word, list. Here is the second slide. Retribution is basically any punishment. Punishment given for a wrongdoing, an illegal thing, a dishonest thing, or a vengeance that is to be taken. So it's basically a punishment given. Punishment is equal to retribution. Employees asked not to be named, saying they feared retribution. So these employees actually were scared of punishment, and that's why they said, please don't take my name. XYZ person did this thing, but I can be punished because of that, so don't take my name. So retribution is nothing but punishment for any wrongdoing or any revenge somebody would take from you. Okay, that's retribution. All right. So let's look at the next one. Catatonically. What's catatonically? Catatonically is anything that basically involves a lack of movement. Your body is frozen, or either you become too restless and anxious. When would your body function like that? When would your body behave in a catatonical manner? What was the behavior? Either a frozen body or a restless body. Give me an example of a time when your body would behave like that. I'd like to see your answers. I'd like to see if you are attentive enough or if YouTube is still favoring my session. Example of when would your body behave catatonically? Frozen body or restless body? Examples, anyone? कब बिहेव करेगी बॉडी ऐसे? बिल्कुल फ्रोजन हो जाती है, कोई मूवमेंट नहीं होता बॉडी का, या फिर बिल्कुल रेस्टलेस हो जाती है, यू कॉन्स्टेंटली आर शेकिंग योर हैंड्स, यू नर्वस, यू कॉन्स्टेंटली मूविंग. कब होता है ऐसा? आंसर करो. How would I know you're able to understand things? Exam hall? Yes. Stage fear? Yes. When I had COVID, because it was during the second wave and I saw so many people around me suffering, I had the same reaction in my body. It was a catatonical one. Results as well. Yes, results as well. So that's the catatonical behavior a body would do. Next word is stasis. So stasis is basically clotting or any other thing that happens in your body that stops the movement of fluid. Fluid, any kind of fluid. Stopping the movement of fluid in the body is stasis, that condition. You may be wondering if I'm going to take an article on biology. No, I'm not. The article is not at all on biology. It's not going to be that. It is something you have not even imagined of. That is. And most likely you haven't even read the article. It's a brilliant piece of article. Next word, colluders. Collude, basically people coming together in a group, acting for a cause, or basically association of people is colluders. So the managers and the union leaders regularly colluded to rob the plantations at the expense of the workers. So they came together, managers and the union leaders, coming together, acting in a group for a common cause, common purpose. Of course, my chat dekh rahi hu, Akash. Yes, I'm looking at it. I'm reading what you've written. Okay? If I don't look at chats, how would I communicate with you? Heart attack could be an example. Yes. Fear. Tired में नहीं होगा. Accident के साथ हो सकता है. बिल्कुल हो सकता है, Akash. You're absolutely right. ठीक है? तो colluders आया समझ में? Last word for the slide, cadaver. Cadaver is a dead body or a corpse. Cadaverous look, a look that somebody has as if the person is dead, like ghostly. That ghostly look is cadaverous look. Okay? So cadaver is dead body. Okay? Done? Take a very quick screenshot, everyone. Slide number 2. Let's move on to slide number 3. Slide number 3. Ready? Okay. Once again, which one? Cadaver. Shubh. Cadaver समझाओ. Cadaver होता है dead body. Complete dead. Corpse भी dead body ही होता है. Okay? So cadaverous is like a dead body. Let's look at the next one. Slide number 3. Disenfranchised. Basically, this is the negative prefix here, obviously has a negative meaning. So when the privileges of people are taken away from them, no rights given to people, is disenfranchised. We strongly oppose any measure which would disenfranchise people from access to legal advice. Taking away basic fundamental rights, freedom of speech, for example, is disenfranchised. Got that? Okay. Next word is interregnum. So interregnum is basically a period when the functioning of one government has ended और दूसरे का functioning start नहीं हुआ. तो जो interim period होता है, that interim period can also be called as interregnum. The tenure of one government has ended. The tenure of the next government has not yet started. The moment in between that transition is called, or interim period is called interregnum. Okay? So somebody wanted to see, just a minute. Okay. नहीं, रशिया चाइना पे नहीं है आर्टिकल, बिल्कुल नहीं है, नॉट एट ऑल. स्टेसिस फिर से समझना था. स्टेसिस होता है जब आपकी बॉडी में लिक्विड का मूवमेंट रुक जाता है. ब्लड का मूवमेंट कहीं रुक गया किसी भी पार्ट में, वो स्टेसिस हो गया. यूरिन का मूवमेंट रुक जाता है किसी का, दैट इज ऑल्सो स्टेसिस. ओके, नेक्स्ट वर्ड पे चलते हैं. I'm telling you, you can't even think of the word that I'm going to bring, the article that I'm going to bring today. Next word is galactic. Galactic is something that relates to galaxy. Obviously, because हम galactic word देख रहे हैं, it relates to galaxies. It has nothing to do with Russia-Ukraine crisis. Anything that relates to galaxies is galactic. So the search for a black hole at the galactic center is the center of the galaxy. Next word, lurching. Lurching is a movement of a body that is beyond your control, possibly too fast, but you are unable to control it. So the car lurched forward, it moved with exponential speed that it was beyond control. That's lurching. Got that, everyone? That's lurching. So lurching becomes a fast movement of a body. Next one is tempest. Tempest is, देखो जब हम wind की बात करते हैं, wind has multiple speeds and for different types of winds we have different names. जैसे soft breeze को हम zephyr बोलते हैं, और जो बिल्कुल violent tornado जैसी स्पीड में विंड होती है उसको हम टेम्पेस्ट बोलते हैं. If you read Shakespeare in your school or after that, you would know this name. The play by Shakespeare, Tempest. याद आया? That's Tempest. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. This is slide number 3. That's the last slide. Take a very quick screenshot and then I'll tell you what the article is about. Can I go forward, everyone? Ready? Here we go. Song sung blue, the end as a new beginning. The question is, will the world end? Stories tell us yes. How will the world end? Different people have different theories. But can the end of the world be looked at as a new beginning? Could be. How is the new beginning? What is the new beginning? You will tell me that. I'll tell you about world ending. You will tell me what is the new beginning the author is referring to here. Okay? So let's start reading the passage here, everyone. So this is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. So basically, there was a very famous poet, T.S. Eliot. He said, the world will not end with a bang. It will end with a whimper, a low voice, a low noise that somebody would make. And then there was Alexander Pope who said, no, the world will not end with a whimper, but it will end with a yawn. Yawn karte hai, uvasi aati hai. So it will end with a yawn. So different people have their own different theories. The COP26 meet says the world will end with a climate change. The IPCC report says the world will end with a climate change. And then other people say the world will end with COVID. That's what we thought during the second wave, right? That the world is, I thought that for sure, that the world is coming to an end. So, different people have different theories. If those are symptoms of doomsday, we can safely conclude we are far from it. Symptoms, whimpering, yawn. If these are symptoms of doomsday, we know doomsday is not close. The world is not ending anytime sooner. The phantasmagoria we are seeing today was surely dreamt up by a more reptilian brain. So, what we see today, somebody must have thought about that. The predictions, somebody must have fantasized it in their mind, thinking about the world ending. What else could have conjured up such a cocktail of doom? Cocktail क्यों बोला doom को यहाँ? What is the cocktail here? The cocktail of doom is doom coming by a yawn or a whimper or COVID or climate change. It's a cocktail. Anything, any of these things can end the world. So the author calls it a cocktail of doom, with every single ingredient associated with the celestial wrath and retribution. Celestial wrath क्या होता है? Wrath is the anger. So the author says, I'll explain this line both in Hindi and English. The author here says, basically COVID or climate change, all of these things which could end the world, they are our suffering. We are going to suffer because of that. And that is the anger of the world. And we are going to be suffering here. Celestial wrath हो गया, anger of the universe. और वो anger की वजह से हम खत्म होंगे. ये universe का anger है जो doom लेके आएगा. जो ये हम देख रहे हैं, death, flood, cyclones, earthquakes, burning forest, clinical depression, bad relationships, worse jobs, tired people. What are these? It's a cocktail of doom, a result out of the anger of the universe. These are signs that the world is going to end. One thing is clear, for the breath rationed and bereaved. Who are breath rationed? You and I are breath rationed. Our breaths are rationed. इतनी ही breath मिलेगी तुमको इस world में, इतनी ही breath लेनी है तुमको इस world में. Our breaths are rationed. And there are some people who are bereaved. Bereaved कौन होते हैं? People who have lost a near and dear one. Because their breaths were also rationed. This isn't the time of the whimper or the yawn. It's the COVID era, and this is the gasp. What is the gasp? When you're struggling for breath, you would gasp. So he says, no. This COVID era is not a whimper, as said by T.S. Eliot. It is not a yawn, as said by Alexander Pope. This COVID era, our suffering, all of these things, it's one of the gasp. Yes? We can also end the world. Absolutely, yes, Sharma. We could. We could also end the world. So, just a minute. Yes. Now what happens next? अभी तक कोई new beginning तो नहीं समझ में आई है. Let's go on. Let's see. And so 2021 draws to its close. Older article, that's why 2021 was coming to an end, at the end of which we probably know more about Greek alphabet than the virus. How do we know more about Greek alphabet? I would like you to answer. How do we know more about Greek alphabet than knowing about the virus? How? Answer that. How do we know more about the Greek alphabet than the virus? Do you know about Greek alphabet? Yes, you do. How? How do you know about it? Quickly. No guesses? Come on, guys. What language does Omicron refer to? Or Delta refer to? What language? These are Greek. So we know more about Greek alphabet now than we know more about virus. Am I still clearly visible and audible? Am I clearly visible and audible? I have no answers from you. दिख रहा है अच्छे से, सुन रहा है अच्छे से? दिख रहा है, ठीक है। तो आंसर क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो बच्चे? यस, ओके, ठीक है, चलिए, let's move ahead. So we know more about the Greek alphabet. I've lost several dear to me. Some people have not lost people, but I have lost people. But we've all had our share of thoughts about endings. I had my share of thought about endings during the second wave of COVID. I thought this is the end of the world is ending. I lost a lot of near and dear ones. I thought this is the end of the world. I will also die. That's exactly what I thought. I'm not exaggerating. I've read this outro play decades ago. But when the doors slammed shut, very important line, many inference can be drawn here. But when the doors slammed shut and we were left with the mind-numbing chatter of our minds, the phrases that rang catatonically through my ears was no exit. What is the door here? It's a metaphor. How? When you're alone, without people around you, what happens? Your mind constantly tells you, talks to you, chatters constantly. The world is ending. There's no exit. The world has to end. You can't run away from it. The mind keeps telling you that. Energetically, this was stasis. Scripturally, it was pralay. Scriptures tell us, ye pralay hai, world khatam ho jayega. Experientially, this was the dead end. We could not move forward. Everybody would die. This is the dead end. We don't have a way forward. No exit. Witness no longer. We were participants, preparators, victims, agents, colluders, confronted by the finite rhythms of our breath and the grim consequences of collective irresponsibility. Basically, why we were suffering were our collective effect of our irresponsibility. Because everybody today is responsible for what we are going through in the world. No hands were unsoiled. Everybody's hands were dirty. No gaze was innocent. Everybody's gaze was dirty. Everybody was responsible for what the earth is facing right now. Okay? So, let's see the next page. What happens next? Blame game started. Conspiracy theory started. China is responsible for sending COVID. US is responsible for the climate change. China is responsible for the climate change. Japan is. Blame game started. Conspiracy theory started. Vaccination nahi mili. Government is responsible. But shifts have happened too. Almost everyone, irrespective of age or cultural background, seems to have attempted some brand of life audit. What is life audit? Auditing your life, looking back at what you've done in your life, counting the mistakes that you've done. So blames happened, but everybody did a life audit during the second wave of COVID, during the times while we were suffering. I am dying, said a terminally ill woman to a Tibetan monk. She went to a Tibetan monk and said, okay, I'm dying. And what did the monk say? The monk said, so are we all. All of us are dying. What's new in that? And he said this not because of a fridge magnet wisdom, but because of his experience. What is fridge magnet wisdom? Understand that. You put magnets on the fridge, that's only for show. It has no meaning, no experience. It is only for show. He did not say it with the wisdom he had only for showing. The wisdom he had was through experience. He had seen many people leave. So the woman instantly, just a minute. Sorry guys. Sorry, something went wrong. I'm sorry. Yes. So he said it with his experience. I'm sorry people. I'm sorry for what went wrong. Okay, so puja preparators are जो उनको follow करते हैं, ठीक है? All right, so let's move on with it. Mortality has always looked us in the face, but it's not just the Tibetan monk of the anecdote who knows it today. सिर्फ monk को पता था कि हमारा life खत्म होने वाला है. No, you and I know that too, that the world is going to end, right? Let's move on with the next page. This is not to underestimate the horror or to trivialize the consequences for the poor or disenfranchised. Basically, this article is not to reduce the horror in your mind that everybody is going to end. It is not to demean the poor and disenfranchised. No, this article is not about that. But with the imminence of death, imminence is, it is about to happen. With the imminence of death, the experience of life does somehow grow sharper. Now, do you see a positive side coming out of the negativity that the world is going to end? Do you see a side of positivity here? What is the positivity? He says that the world is going to end. But that is not because I want to reduce your horror. That is because death will happen. You need to know how to make your life worthwhile till the time you are alive. I know an octogenarian. Octogenarian is basically 80 to 89 years old, who started writing poems. They were friends who started picking up long forgotten musical instruments. They started reading. They started getting their relationships better, their work lives better, started meeting old friends, gardening, meditation. Why did they start doing that? 80 to 89 years old, because they knew their life is going to come to an end very soon. So let me just make the most of what's here. So what is hidden here is that the life is coming to an end, but we have to make the most of the time that we are left with. Make your life worthwhile is the positive side of this article now. Let's continue with this. Then he talks about viraha. Viraha is a word in Hindu scriptures. For people who do not know, I'll explain. Viraha means separation. And separation from your loved ones. So that does not necessarily mean you leave your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you leave your wife or your husband. You, for example, go out to a hostel. You leave your parents behind. That's viraha. A soldier goes to a border, leaving behind his family to fight for the country. That's viraha. And as per scriptures, viraha is something everybody will have to go through. So it could be people being parted from lovers, spouses, parents, homes. Purana ghar chhod ke naye ghar mein jana. That's viraha. Leaving motherland, going to a foreign country for work. Heaven or the divine. That's viraha. I found myself thinking recurrently about Megh. Okay, now that's a very interesting part. Very funny part as well. So Meghdoot is a poem Kalidasa had written. And what happened in the poem? Megh is cloud, Doot is somebody, a messenger. So basically the cloud was the messenger here, where a loved one had sent a cloud with a message to his loved ones. But the cloud has taken on an entirely new meaning for us today. How? You answer this. How has the cloud taken an entirely new meaning for us today? Answer that. How has the cloud taken a new meaning? What is the new meaning to the cloud that we see now? What is the new meaning? Answer very quickly. Because in Meghdoot, it was the literal cloud that was a messenger. What is the new meaning to the cloud? It could be a message on WhatsApp, but the cloud is cloud where you store your data online. That's the cloud that it means for us. अब हमारे लिए messenger cloud नहीं है. It could be a Zoom or WhatsApp through which we send our messages. So no more fluffy cloud couriers for us. Even while our physical doors are shut, our digital windows are open. Right now my room's door is shut. My daughter is outside. But this digital window, you and I, it's open for each other, right? It's open for friends, colleagues, and families. We have invented friends and colleagues and families. Like you gradually will be my family if we see each other more often. We create, we invent families online around the world. A radical shift has been embraced with a staggering ease. What was the radical shift? The radical shift was working online after COVID hit us, taking classes online, doing office online. It was the radical shift, but we embraced it. Yes, Ankit, cloud computing, technology, digital. Yes, Mridula, you're absolutely right. So we have taken it with ease, and so many ideas about space and time have been tossed neatly out of the window. What is space? What is time? We don't need that. Throw it out of the window. And human imagination will surely never be the same again. Was it the spiritual teacher? Now, this is a new idea that the author is introducing here in the end of the world, relating it to COVID. Please pay your attention here, everyone. It's a very important, because this will help you summarize the passage. So Muji was a spiritual teacher. Okay, he said that learning to live apart in time is learning to live together in eternity. So viraha, learning to live apart. When you learn to live apart, you learn to live together forever. Yes, the word apocalypse hangs heavy in the air, that the world is going to end. But the thing about being Indian is that we don't really believe in endings. Do we? As Indians, we don't believe in endings. हमारे लिए the life will go on. कोई बात नहीं, कल कर लेंगे. The life will go on. We find it difficult to subscribe to anything that is terminal, that will come to an end. The Tibetan era of Bardo. Understand what is the Bardo concept, everyone. Jokes apart, it is a kind of satire. It is, you've guessed it right. What is the concept of Bardo here? Understand. Bardo is basically the Tibetan concept of interval. For example, when you're breathing, there are intervals between each breath, fractions of seconds. Yes? Or there could be an interval between lifetime. Once death happens, Hindu mythology says you will be incarnated to another being. So there's a bardo in between. Ek government khatam hoti, dusri start hoti, there's a bardo in between. So bardo is basically the interim time. Actually, you're right, Rishi. Ye usi sense mein ja raha hai. So he says the Tibetan idea of bardo, that's an interval, has always resonated deeply with the author. I have long been fascinated by commas rather than full stops. Comma is an example of a bardo, a gap in between, a pause in between, an interval in between. Surely, caterpillar dreams turn apocalyptic when they dissolve into green mush in their cocoons. Caterpillar की life पता है ना कैसे butterfly बनती है? Transformation, बीच-बीच में bardo. Yes, it must feel terrifying. A bit like turning from alchemist to the swirling content in a conical flask. Kaise? Who is the alchemist here? The alchemist is the Almighty. What the alchemist is doing, he has this conical flask. He is swirling the flask like this, mixing things. And once it is settled, you have a new life. Your previous world has ended. You enter the new one. So, alchemist is one who plays with chemicals. He's mixing his conical flask and he's swirling the content. Or to use the biblical image, agar Bible ki aap baat karoge, so it would be Jonah in the whale's belly. Alag-alag culture, different stories. It's a nightmare, yes. But is it the end? Or is it a bardo? What is it? It's possibly world coming to an end is not an end, but the fact that it is a bardo. Aa raha hai samajh mein? Did you like this session right now? Do it before I move ahead and show you what happens in the end. Like the session right now. Did you share it with everybody? I'm sure you're there in multiple Telegram groups that address all the MBA entrance examinations. Please share it with everyone. Tell them I'm doing a good job. Let's go ahead. So what happens in the end? Perhaps COVID moment is our bardo. It's a hiccup. Break hai. Yeah, transition period hai. The moment when we see upfront and unphotoshopped the grimy consequences of living with a fragmented case. So COVID was a reminder to us. Don't be short-sighted. Live your life to the fullest because the world is going to come to an end. Don't live with a fragmented case. We would like to blame our gods, our ancestors, our parents, politicians, each other for what we are suffering with right now. Climate change, COVID, forest burning, cyclone, thunder, floods, drought. We could blame so many people, our parents, our ancestors, each other, politicians, governments, countries. But how long will you blame people? Until we all fall down, as the old nursery rhyme goes. तब तक blame करोगे जब तक all fall down? Maybe it is time to abandon the playground politics. Maybe it's time to overcome the fact that blame game needs to be over. It is time to live your life to the fullest. Time to embrace a new way of engaging with the world, rooted in the knowledge the fundamental problem is our own divided mind. Let's be united. Our divided mind is the problem here. Perhaps the apocalyptic future then is for those who live in the past, who live in the memory. क्योंकि जो अभी present में रहते हैं उनके लिए even if the world ends, it's okay. If God is a loaded word, work on life. If you think God is too heavy, who is God? You don't know. Religion is too heavy for you. Look at life. Work on life. The weather is cyclonic. Everybody is running from here to there. The planet is lurching. Pots and pans, furniture and microwave, loved ones, livelihood is flying around the room. What is the room? It's the world. Possibly, the same alchemist is swirling his mixture in the conical flask. Possibly, it's coming to an end. What's more, people will seasick, storm-tossed, and yet more deeply ourselves, we will be different because the bardo will be over. But there's some consolation in knowing that for the great goodness, life, it is just another day in her crazy laboratory. Lives will change, lives will come to an end, things will change, climate, drought, all of this will make our life upside down. COVID will make our life upside down. But you need to remember, why is it happening? It's life just doing some experiment in her crazy laboratory that will make you suffer. So, make the most of what you have. What is going to be? Yes, many, many metaphors. Many ones. Jokes apart, many ones. Did you understand the article, everyone? Send me a thumbs up right now. You have to tell me the tone of the author right now in the class now. And your homework is writing down the summary of the article in not more than one line. Why do you have to write down the summary? It will help you answer the main idea questions, the title of the passage, theme of the passage, these questions. I'll check each one of your summary. Please write them down under my video. I'll check them throughout the week. But tone of the author, you have to tell me right now. By the time you tell me the tone of the author, I'll have a sip of water with the brilliant article that we've just now read. What's the tone here, everyone? What's the tone? Satirical? Okay, Rishi, got that. Rishi, think a little more. I'm sure you can find a better tone. Sarcastic? नहीं बच्चे, विक्की देखो, humor sarcastic में difference. I'll explain. Humor होता है सिर्फ मजाक, बिना किसी hidden agenda के. यहाँ सिर्फ कुछ lines थी humorous. हम इसको humorous article नहीं मान सकते. I'll repeat that in English. This article is not humorous because the aim of the article is not to create fun. Like Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is an example of humorous. It's not humor. Satirical, okay. But all those people who are saying satirical or sarcastic, Mridula, you did not answer? I'm waiting for your answer. Okay. Can the tone here be, let me write this down. Can the tone here be philosophical? Dramatic is a good one. Very good. Can the tone be philosophical? ऋषिराज, dogmatic हो सकता है. Yes. Yes, it could be dogmatic. But if philosophical is a choice given to you, which one would you choose then? Is the author presenting his philosophy about the world coming to an end, and many, many more people who have different philosophies about the bardo, about the yawn, about the gasp? Yes, so it could be a philosophical one. Yes, it can be a philosophical one as well. Correct. So your homework, I'll tell you the homework, but let me take you through one thing. If you're targeting CAT 2022, complete course batch 5 has been launched. The teachers themselves have been toppers, scored more than 99 plus percentile. We've got Vikas sir, Saral sir, Sanojam sir. I'll tell you something very interesting today, since you guys are live. I have worked with Saral sir and Sanojam sir for over 10 years now. So, and Vikas sir for some time as well. So, if this is something you're aiming at, you've got the toppers who themselves are going to be your mentors. Look no further. Call our counselors on this number. Know more about the program. Jaldi se enroll kar lo. You don't have a lot of time left for the examination to happen. Please, please like the session, comment under my video, share the session and subscribe to the channel if you think it was worth the while. Please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, and download our app on Google Play. Thank you so much, everyone. And I shall check all your summaries under my video in the comment section throughout the next week. Make sure you write down the summary, not more than one line. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a very good night. God bless all of you. Rishi, I have been teaching for the last 12 years. Thank you.